dito tayo natapos, ano, so the core values of development. So according to Golay. Ayan. Ayan. So ano ba yung mga core values of development according to Golay? So number 1, yung tinatawag nating sustenance. Ayan. So when we say sustenance, pertains to basic needs, capacity to buy food, clothing. Ayan. So sinasabi ang development, so dapat nasusustain natin ano yung different needs natin. Ayan. Wait lang po, i-admit ko lang, may mga pumapasok pa. Ayan. So, sustenance, to sustain the basic needs. Ayan. So, ano ba yung mga basic needs natin? Ayan, food, clothing, shelter, and some of the physiologic needs na dapat ay matugunan natin. Ayan. Okay. So, number 1 is sustenance. Number 2, yung tinatawag naman natin self-esteem. Ayan. This is the sense of warmth and respect of not being used as a tool by their own needs under the process. So when we say self-esteem, this pertains to sense of warmth and respect. Ayan. So kung titingnan nga natin ito dun kay Abraham Maslow, hierarchy of needs, ano, so ang self-esteem ay nandun sa pang-apat, ano, dun sa pinakang tuktok. Ayan. So another core values of development according to Goulet ay yung freedom. Ayan. So under freedom, sinasabi dito sa freedom, advantage of economic growth is not that wealth increases happiness, but that is increase the change of human choices. Ayan. So dito naman, sinasabi ni Goulet, development as freedom. Ano? So ang development daw ay freedom. And yun nga, by increasing the range of human choices. So these are the core values of development, the sustenance, self-esteem, and the freedom. Okay? So let's discuss the development as freedom. Okay, development as freedom. So this is according to Amartya Sen. So kanina nag-discuss natin din si Amartya Sen doon sa social realities. So ang sinasabi naman ni Amartya Sen ay yung patungkol sa capability approach dun sa ating social reality. So dito naman sa social change, sinabi naman niya na ang development as freedom. Okay? So the main purpose of development is to spread freedom and thousand charms to the unfree citizens. So freedom is at once the ultimate goal of social arrangements and the most efficient means of realizing general welfare. So para daw makamit ang development, so dapat daw nandyan yung freedom with the individuals in the community. The social institutions like markets, political parties, legislatures, the judiciary, and like contribute to development by enhancing individual freedom and are in turn serve social values. Okay? Okay. Values, institutions, development, and freedom are closely linked with each other. Ayan. So another basic concepts with regards to social change and development ay yung tinatawag natin social development. Ayan. So ano ba pag sinabi natin social development? Sabi nga natin, social means relating to society or its organization. Ayan. And when we say development, so develop meaning to unfold itself or to grow into fuller or mature condition. Ang ment naman is referring to an instrument of action, an act, or process. So when we combine the two, social development, so it refers to the progressive improvements in the living conditions. Ayan. So pag sinabi natin social development, ang pinaka-aim is to improve the living conditions as well as the quality of life that was enjoyed by the society and shared by its members. Ayan. So another definition of social development, this is a process of planned social change. Ayan. So di ba sabi natin sa concept natin ng social change can be either planned or unplanned. Ayan. So dito sa social development, so tinuturing natin sa planned social change designed to promote the well-being of the population as a whole in conjunction with the dynamic process of economic development. Ayan. So ang social development connected sa doon sa pagkamit natin din ng tinatawag nating economic development. Kung hindi natin ma-reach itong economic development, possible din na hindi natin ma-reach itong tinatawag nating social development. Ayan. So according to Wieland, 1997, so social development is the promotion of a sustainable society. Ayan. So lagi nating naririnig yung sustainable. Ayan. Sabi nga natin, sustainable development. So pag sinabi natin sustainable, so iniisip natin yung future generations, kung saan yung other resources sa ating environment ay hindi siya mako-compromise. Ayan. That is worthy of human dignity by empowering the marginalized group, ayan, to undertake their own development, to improve their social and economic position, and to acquire their rightful place in society. Ayan. So, that's according to Wieland. And according to, wait lang, kay Amartya Sen, so social development is equality of social opportunities. So itinuturing ni Amartya Sen na ang social development daw ay ang pagkakaroon ng pantay na oportunidad pagdating dito sa ating society. Okay? So sinasabi, social development has been described as a process of change from traditional way of living of rural communities to progressive ways of living. So dito natin makikita yung pag-transform ng society natin from the rural to urban communities. Okay? So from rural, so makikita natin yung pag-modernize ng ating society as it transform to pagiging urban communities. Okay? Social development is more concerned with the investment in human beings. Ayan. Social development, nag-i-invest tayo, more on din sa human development. Ayan. When it comes to education, sa health, social welfare, etc. And one of the best example ng social development programs, services, ayan, na nakapokus sa human investment ay yung programa ng Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program. So which is focusing din sa education, health, and nutrition ng mga batang may edad 0 to 18 years old. Ayan. Social development aims at the total development, is intersectoral, interregional, and interdisciplinary reforms to provide greater social justice. Ayan. So sinasabi na ang social development talagang broad sa malawak. Ayan. So from the word intersectoral, interregional, at sinasabi din na ito ay interdisciplinary. So kumbaga, madaming aspects tayong tinitingnan pag sinabi natin social development. Ikinoconnecta natin dyan yung economic development, human development, and etc. Okay? So what are the characteristics of social development? Ayan. So tingnan natin. So ano ba yung characteristic? So number one, this is linked to economic development. Ayan. So nakalink sa dun sa economic development kasi kung hindi natin makakamit yung economic development, maaring hindi rin makamit itong tinatawag natin social development. Okay? So dapat may paglago muna din sa ekonomiya para masabi natin na nakamit din natin itong social development. And it is interdisciplinary. So what I said kanina, so hindi lang sa one aspect ng ating society, makikita natin dyan yung two or more aspects na tinitingnan natin para makamit itong tinatawag nating social development. Okay? So usually it comprises economic development, the human development, etc. The goals of growth of and change are explicit. Ayan. So yung pinakang goal ng social development ay sinasabi nga explicit. When we say explicit, malinaw, maliwanag, yung pagkakalatag ng mga goals and objectives for growth and change. And the next, progressive in nature, always towards human betterment. Ayan. So sa social development, ang pinakang goal talaga natin is for the human betterment, human development. Kaya nga nandyan yung human investment natin when it comes to education, health, etc. And then interventionist. It is the result of social, economic policies and planning. Okay? So, let's discuss ano ba yung mga goals of social development. Ayan. So number one is to create a society where living conditions of the people are better. They do not suffer from hunger and they are not denied the basic necessities of life. So primary goal, matugunan ang mga pangunahing pangailangan, the basic needs ng mga tao sa ating society. Kaya nga sabi nga, free from hunger and do not suffer from hunger. Okay? Another goal is to remove the regional imbalance and rural-urban disparities. Ayan. So dyan papasok yung pag sinabi natin mga regional imbalances and rural-urban disparities, yung mga differences when it comes to income per capita. Ayan. So dapat daw talaga mapagpantay-pantay natin yung mga differences pagdating sa mga income per capita within the society. As well as yung literacy rate, ayan, and the health and education services within the society. And number three is to create infrastructure where basic needs of the people are met at all levels, including those who constitute the poorest and deprived section of the society. So yun din, ang pinakang goal din ni social development is to create infrastructure. Ayan. So, para ma-met yung iba't ibang basic needs. Ayan. So, infrastructure like, for example, schools, ayan, health center, etc. Okay? So, let's see, meron tayong tinatawag na hierarchy of goals of development. So, parang pinattern nito doon sa kay Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Dito naman, hierarchy of goals of development. So at the bottom, so makikita natin, same with Abraham Maslow. So basic minimum needs. Kay Abraham Maslow, more on focus naman doon sa mga physiologic needs. So when we say basic minimum needs, this is eradication of abject poverty and unemployment. Ayan. So access to minimum income and public services through employment with people's participation. Ayan. So dapat daw yun ang pinaka first nating matugunan. Second, yung socio-economic. Ayan. So when we say socio-economic, kailangan there is a higher growth with higher equity and mass consciousness. Ayan. And pangatlo, yung socio-political. So dito papasok yung equity of distributive justice, the social equality, redistribution of assets, and democracy. And pinaka-higher level natin is the culture. This is development or the full development of human potentials and creativity. Okay, so that's for hierarchy of goals of development. So ayan, so what are the areas of development? So sabi nga, itong tatlong ito is interconnected with each other. So ang pag-unlad sa mga isang aspeto ay maaring pag-unlad din ng ibang aspeto. Ayan. So the social development, the economic, and the political development. So tingnan natin ano ba yung tinatawag nating economic development. Ayan. So when we say economic development, is the development of economic wealth of countries or regions for the well-being of their inhabitants. When we say economic kasi, this is more on the productions, the distributions, as well as the consumption of wealth or consumption of wealth in our society. So this is an increase in the capacity of an economy to produce goods. So more focus tayo sa pag-produce ng goods and services compared to one period time to another. Yan. So when we say political development naman, so political development as political prerequisite of economic development. Ayan. So kailangan daw magkaugnay din kasi talaga ito yung political and economic development. Kaya nga as a prerequisite of economic development. So dapat ma-achieve din muna natin yung pagkakaroon ng political development bago tayo magkaroon ng tinatawag na economic development. Ayan, political development as political modernization. Okay, so when we say political modernization, so from the word modernization, so there is a transformation of political culture in response dun sa changes na nangyayari sa ating society. And political development as the operation of the nation state. Ayan. So when we say political development, usually sila yung may control ng operation pagdating sa ating nation state. Ayan. So ayan. So that's for social development, economic development, and political development, which are interrelated with each other. Okay? So that's the basic concepts, and we will proceed na dun sa other concepts ng social change and development perspectives. Ayan. Okay. Okay. So let's proceed. So bukod sa political development, economic development, and social development, so meron din tayong tinatawag na participatory development. Okay. So from the word participatory, ayan, so makikita natin dito yung participation ng community in the development process. Ayan. Okay, so when we say participatory development, nandyan yung engagement ng local population. So meron silang kinalaman kung paano ma-achieve ang development. Ayan. So kumbaga may ambag, may ambag sila sa pag-achieve ng development. Okay? This is a process through which stakeholders can influence and share control over development initiatives, over the decisions and resources that affect themselves. Ayan. So there is involvement ng mga stakeholders. Ayan. So ano ba yung mga sino-sino ba at ano ba yung tinatawag nating stakeholders? Anyone po from the group? Ano ba yung tinatawag nating stakeholders? Any idea po? Sino-sino ba itong mga stakeholders nito? Sige, go ahead.
Sir, yun po yung yung mga kumbaga po sa isang sa isang company po, bali po ang nangyayari po, iba't iba po yung nagmamay-ari po nung yung mga shares po. Gaya po example po yung gaya po sa company namin, bali nagkakameron po kami ng mga kanya-kanyang shares. Tapos po pag ayaw na po namin na halimbawa nung mga shares na yun, pwede po namin silang ibenta sa ibang para iba naman po yung magpatakbo po ng mga kumbaga po ng mga pondo po ng isang company.
Okay. So ipinasok ni Mama doon sa usapin naman ng company. So kung saan meron daw mga shares. Ayan. So dito sa participatory development, so kung ipapasok natin sa community, sino ba itong mga taong ito? Stakeholders. Pwede, barangay officials. Ayan. Sino pa?
NGO.
NGO. Yeah, right. Ano pa? Meron pa? LGU. Tama din po yun. So, stakeholders din po sila. Ayan. So, sabi nga, they can influence, and share control over development. So, yung mga nabanggit natin, NGO, barangay, pwede silang makapag-contribute, doon sa development process, Okay, so tingnan natin. So, sino-sino nga ba at ano ba yung tinatawag nating stakeholders? Ayan. Ayan. So, tingnan muna natin, ano ba muna yung reasons bakit mayroong participatory development. Ayan. O bakit essential? So, this is strengthen civil society and economy by empowering groups, communities, and organizations to negotiate with institutions and bureaucracies, thus influencing public policy. Ayan. So through participatory development, nandyan yung total engagement ng ating community. Ayan. So nandiyan civil society, the groups, the community, and organization para makapag-influensya sila doon sa mga ilang public policy na meron tayo sa ating community. Ayan. So it enhances the efficiency, effectiveness, and sustainability of the development programs. So napakalaga kasi nitong participatory development since yung mga stakeholder natin, sila yung mga nasa ground level na pwedeng nakakaalam what are the proper interventions, what are the proper yung akma na proyekto o akma na projects na talagang aakma doon sa nakikita nilang mga problema sa kanilang community. Ayan. So kumbaga sila yung buhay na saksi kung ano yung talagang pinakang problema o kung paano nila makakamit yung development. Ayan. So let's see the stakeholders in participatory development. Ayan. Okay. For a while lang po, may i-check lang po. Okay, sige. Proceed tayo. Ayan. So, sino-sino ba yung mga stakeholders? Ayan. So, una-una, ang pinakang stakeholders natin are the general public. Ayan, yung mismong tao sa ating komunidad. Ayan. So, tinuturing din natin silang stakeholders. Okay? So these are, or those who are directly or indirectly affected by the project. Yan. So pwede dito pumasok yung mga groups of women, the individuals and families, indigenous peoples, the religious groups, ayan. At yung iba't ibang sectors din ng society natin. For example, the farmers, the fisheries, laborers, the workforce, labor, etc. Okay? So the general public are considered as stakeholders in the participatory development. Ayan. So right kanina yung LGU, the government are also considered as stakeholders. So, pwedeng pumasok dito yung mga civil servants in departments, the cabinets, the department heads, ayan, etc. Ayan. So, representative assemblies. So, when we say representative assemblies, pwede dito yung mga elected officials from the national, local, district, municipal, ayan, the municipal mayor, councilor, ayan, etc. And ayan, the CSO or the civil society organization. So this includes the networks, the national, international NGO. So tama kanina yung nagsabi ng NGO. Ayan, the media, the community-based organizations. So yung mga existing organizations sa mga community, kasali din po yan sa mga stakeholders po natin. As well as the private sector, ayan, the umbrella group representing groups within private sector and the professional associations. Okay. Kasama din sa mga stakeholders natin ang donor and international financial institutions. Ayan. So these are the resource providers and development partners. Okay. Ayan. So that's for ito yung ating mga kino-consider as stakeholders in the participatory development. Okay. So tingnan natin ang ilan sa mga perspective of participatory development. Okay. So there are two perspectives. First is yung tinatawag nating social movement perspectives. Ayan. So nandiyan na naman si social movement. So when we say nga social movement, kanina, that's a social realities. So these are the group of organized large number of people, kung saan meron silang gustong makamit, So this is to impede social change. Ayan. So dito sa perspective dito, defines participation as the mobilization of people to eliminate unjust hierarchies. Ayan. So may gusto silang mabago, particularly the unjust hierarchies, halimbawa nga ng mga social movements natin, yun may mga pinaglalaban silang mga issues, mga karapatan, rights, ayan. And knowledge, power, and economic distribution. Ayan. And another perspective ay yung tinatawag nating institutional perspective. Ayan. So, defines participation as the reach and inclusion inputs by relevant groups in the design and implementation of development projects. Ayan. Ayan. So, when we say institutional, so they include some of the relevant groups pagdating sa design and implementation ng mga development projects. Okay. So another concepts na related pa rin sa ating social change and development perspective is the sustainable development. So okay na tayo with participatory. So ngayon, sustainable development naman. Yan. So, the main goal ng ating sustainable development is to improve the lifestyles and well-being while preserving the natural resources and ecosystem. So, kumbaga, when we say sustainable development, nandyan yung conservation din ng mga natural resources natin. Ayan. So, paulit-ulit ko nga binabanggit, when we say sustainable, iniisip natin yung future generations. Ano, meron pa ba silang magagamit ng mga resources? Ano, kapag dumating tayo sa ganitong punto, ano, na, na ganitong taon, ganitong panahon, etc. Okay? So, without compromising the future of the future generations. And okay, sustainable development. This is a pattern of resource use that aims to meet human needs. Ayan. So gusto natin makamit yung mga pangangailangan ng isang tao and while preserving the environment. So ayan, nandyan yung konsepto na dapat ay ma-preserve natin yung environment so that these needs can be met not only in the present but also for future generations. Kumbaga, iniisip pa rin natin paano yung magiging future ng mga susunod. Kaya dapat nandun pa rin yung tamang paggamit ng mga resources natin within the society or community. Okay. Sustainable development ties together concern for the carrying capacity of natural systems with the social challenges facing humanity. Ayan. Okay. So the pillars of sustainable development. Ayan. So, kung makikita natin, the pillars are the economic development, nandiyan pa rin ang social development, at nakaangkla din dyan yung environmental protection. And so, they are interdependent and they are mutually reinforcing. And so, interdependent itong tatlong ito. So, social, environment, and the economic. Ayan. So, ano ba yung SDG or the Sustainable Development Goals? Ayan. So, this is transforming our world. Ayan. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development was adopted at the UN Sustainable Development Summit at ito ay ginawa noong September 25 to 27 in New York. Ayan. So, ang SDG will guide the development agenda now and 2030. So, ang target nila, by year 2030. And we have 17 sustainable development goals. Ayan. So, mamaya, we will try na isa-isahin, ano ba yung 17 sustainable development goals. And from the 17 goals, meron tayong 169 targets. Ayan. And 232 indicators. So, ang daming tinitingnan para makamit itong 17 sustainable development goals. Okay? At itong sustainable development goals, ang nag-agree dito is 193 countries. Ayan. So, ang signatory nitong SDG na ito. At isa ang Pilipinas sa mga signatory ng Sustainable Development Goals. So naalala ko lang, ito kasama sa board exam last time, kung ilan countries yung signatory ng Sustainable Development Goals. Nakatsamba naman ako, 193. Wala akong idea actually, pero natsambahan ko yung 193. Ayan. Okay. So what is new and different about the 17th SDGs? Ayan. So it is universality. Ayan. So first and most important, this goes apply to every nation and every sector. So universal siya for all sa itong tinatawag nating SDG. Okay? cities, businesses, schools, organization, all are challenged to act. And this is called universality. Okay, so for all, itong ginawa nilang STP. Okay? Okay, next. Another is integration. So it is recognized that the goals are interconnected in a system. We cannot aim to achieve just one goal. We must achieve them all. This is called integration.